Site number one, which I don't know if you remember that map way back when, but site number one is the park on Calvert Street in front of the parking garage at Calvert and Clay, right down here. Now, what's so special about that site? Number one, it's one of the few, it was the only site, I think, or one of the few sites on that list that actually had exposure on one of the main traffic routes, Calvert, not far from West Street. So just a few feet from West Street, you have exposure, you have traffic, you have a parking garage and street parking potentially available around it. So there are a lot of competitive advantages to that site as a site for commercial development. It's also one of the largest sites. So you can build more program on it, and that lowers the cost to a commercial developer. So a large part of the commercial opportunity, at least initially, may be at that site. If you're looking for something that might be more financially viable for a developer, it would likely be at that site. Now you probably can't see it very well. On the left, there's a picture of that site the way it looks right now. I don't know if you can really see it, but you can see the parking garage in the background behind those trees. And this is Calvert running this way and Clay Street running that way. And then this is the same view in an artist's rendering of what it could look like. Now, don't get too caught up in the architecture. I've heard some of the people in the city say, well, that looks great for Charleston or Savannah, but it's not really Clay Street. Don't get too caught up in the architecture. It could be whatever the architect determines that fits the character of the community. But here, what you're seeing is a big change in the welcoming atmosphere of coming into Clay Street from Calvert Street. It's kind of a gateway. There's a little public plaza or a little park, public, like plaza on the corner there that has that tree in it. But instead of a big sort of underutilized concrete park, it's just a little programmed space where people can sort of meet and go into the retail and into the development there. So it's very programmed, very tight, but it helps create a sense of place there as a gateway into Clay Street. You know where the Sir Speedy is on West Street? Okay. This is at West and West Washington, and basically what we haven't really talked about anything major here. It's commercial development is competitive at that site. It's probably the highest and best use. But I think what we're trying to say is, like Calvert, like Clay at Calvert, West Washington and West Street is also a gateway and entrance into the community. So we're just trying to change the perceptions at that gateway to give people a very positive feeling for coming into Clay Street. And the artist here has, the existing conditions are on the upper left corner. And you can see there's the government office building there that really has no street. It's just a block front on the street. And then there's the Sir Speedy and a vacant lot. But what the architect has done is, in one rendering, he sort of added another floor to the Sir Speedy and made it more of a multi-tenant space. In this other rendering, you can't really see it with these lights, but in this other rendering, he's made it more into an active cafe with an awning and outdoor seating facing onto West Washington Street. So it'd be more of a public kind of area where you could go to a cafe and eat there, that type of thing. So those are just concepts, but it is a commercial type of site. Next